Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1124. Hello, it's Mike Matthews, broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont. Today, we hear from Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, John Deere the engineer, plus the return of the Matthews News with an interesting news story for you. Oh my gosh, I'm unorganized.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I'm so unorganized, I can't even say unorganized. Well, okay. Then I'm going to sing.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I think I had a good time on the 4th of July because I went to Benita and I look like I suffer from alopecia. No, I'm bald, but I don't have much hair on the top head of my head. And now I think I'm going to sing about something else instead. We had an interesting thing happen to Hillary.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Oh, I have this big note on my phone saying that Jarrell is back. This is great.
Mike's
I didn't have to rhyme
Daily
something with Hillary.
Podcast.
Wonderful.
Yeah!
I'm glad 4th of July is over with, except for the fact that the fireworks are still going off late into the night. We're still getting the bombs bursting in air all around Podcastro Valley. And it's not I used to love it as a kid. What we would do, this one thing, is we'd get those, what do you call them, flowers? They spin around really fast, and they turn different colors. It looks like a flower. We'd take those, we'd let it, kids don't do this at home. Do this by the ocean. Because what you do is you let the fuse go till it just about starts, and then you chuck it up, way up in the air, and before it hits the water, it's spinning, and then you can get it so it's going so fast that when it hits the water, it's spinning in the water. That was fun. Other than that, fireworks are just, okay, we get it, they explode, woohoo. But we knew people in the South, when we lived in the South, my ex-wife and I, that would just go nuts. They'd spend thousands of dollars on fireworks, like their entire life's inherited. Somebody inherited a bunch of money from their grandmother, spent it all on fireworks. Don't understand. But Benita's a neat little sort of a very hometown, as hometown as you get in the Bay Area, kind of folksy, and look, I just walked in, and nice, and people are cool, and I love Benita. It used to be the capital of California from 1853 to 1854. Not very long, but they still brag about it to this day. Hello, look who just walked in.
Hello, Catherine. Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, Gift Shop Terrorizer. That sounds like a great story. You should go to Benita all the time and, stay there. And live there.
I don't think I'd want to live there, people don't want me to live there. I watched a documentary. It's sort of a docu-comedy. And one of the first ones, it's called Real Life, with Albert Brooks. Albert Brooks, I don't know if you know who he is. He is probably his biggest movie was the Defending Your Life movie. It's on Netflix, this Real Life, and he's playing himself, trying to film a family. Oh, look who else just walked in. Trying to film a family that's, living their life in Phoenix, Arizona. It's not a real family, though. They're actors. The father is played by Charles Grodin before he got popular with all the stuff he did in the 80s. And Charles Grodin still has his hair back then, or, he's starting to lose it. In the 80s, he had some interesting toupee he wore in all his movies. Toupees! And so, oh, look who just walked in. Oh, Mike, it's Floyd the Floorman! And this is John Deere, the engineer. Charles Grodin is the best actor of our era. Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, it's a good movie, Real Life, because it plays with the whole reality TV, the things that we have long since experienced in reality TV. Reality TV got popular, it started getting popular in the 90s with Cops, late 80s and early 90s, and of course it has not left us, and the Kardashians helped get it more popular, Survivor, et al. Albert Brooks saw the humor in it. And in it is Harry Shearer. He was like a co-writer of the movie. And he's actually got this weird helmet on his head. You can't see his face. But because one of the funny things is, since in the 70s, cameras were huge. The film, they didn't have the digital thing we have today. So, they had to use film. And film cameras, when you put all the film in and everything, the movie cameras were heavy and huge. But they explain in the movie that the French have come up with this interesting camera that fits. It's a helmet. It's shaped like a helmet you put over your head, kind of like if you were wearing like a hazmat outfit, or if you were an astronaut, you were putting that over your head. And so all these people are walking around with these weird things over their heads, and they're actually filming what's going on. They're sort of like the cameramen that are off on the side filming what's going on, and they play around with that. Harry Shearer is wearing one, so you don't actually see his face. You do hear his voice coming over the car radio, though, in a funny little segment. And, of course, Harry Shearer would then be in Spinal Tap, which is what a lot of people say started the whole docu-comedy thing. And that's all beginning with Real Life, which came out in 1979. Albert Brooks. All right, go see that movie on Netflix. It has its moments where you're kind of like, oh, why did they should have just chopped this whole part out. But there are other parts you're like, oh, wow, they predicted a lot back then. Check out the website, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com, with links to all the places you can listen to the show, like Facebook, Twitter. We're on Instagram, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Stitcher, all over the place. And then there's the Amazon link if you want to help us out. It says shop, connect, and enjoy. And if you click on that and buy whatever it is you're going to buy, that helps us out a little bit. There's also the PayPal if you want a special greeting from all the Cafe Anyway characters. You can find all that at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com, as well as the podcast picture. And today's podcast picture...
And here's today's podcast picture.
...is of Basil with horses. Most dog owners will get a little nervous when they see their dog not on a leash near a bunch of horses. But here, the situation was well in control, well contained. And you can see that picture at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Basil had a lot of fun that day with the horses. Okay, let's get to Matthew's News.
Matthew's News.
I have been riding Bart to work the past week and a half. I have been enjoying it. It's the Bay Area experience to ride Bart to work, to be able to do that. We can do that in the East Bay. You can't do that all over San Francisco. You can do that in certain parts of San Francisco. You can take Bart all the way up into the frickin' North Tundra of Walnut Creek. Frozen tundra of Walnut Creek. But here's an interesting thing, and you can go, I think, all the way to, Richmond. At some point, this will go south to San Jose. Placing your bag on a seat on BART, Bay Area Rapid Transit, could land you with a fine as BART cracks down on so-called seat hogs. When you are riding BART, and it's really crowded, you get in a car, and you can't even move because it's sardines. There are still some people, as disrespectful as hell, that sit in the seat furthest away from the window and then stick a bag next to the window as if to say, I don't want anyone to sit next to me. Sir or madam, that's really disrespectful. I'm standing here. I've been on my feet all day. I need to sit. You have a seat there. Let me sit down. No, I don't want to sit in here. Well, the San Francisco Chronicle reports that BART directors recently approved a new rule that makes using more than one seat a ticketable offense. Thank you. Applause. People who take up more than a single seat during commute hours will first be given a warning. Excuse me, sir or madam. That's really rude. Let someone sit down. Move that big-ass bag. After that, the first ticket will cost them $100. The penalty will increase to $200 for a second violation and to $500 after that. Ooh. Can I be the one giving out these tickets? People who need 2 seats due to size or medical conditions are exempt from the rule. Don't worry about it then. If you are just really big, you're going to be cool. You can take up those 2 seats. BART director Joel Keller says the ordinance is not about collecting fines, but about encouraging people to share the trains. Because apparently, in the Bay Area, people like to be rude. And this is to teach them, stop it. Be nice to your fellow Bay Area person. Just amazes me as we go outside a cafe anyway. We're bringing you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley. Short show today. I'm filming this I'm filming this? Okay. I'm still thinking back to real life and film when only film and tape existed. But I'm recording this, using the digital apparatus in a studio I'm not usually used to doing. So I'm doing this. It's going to be short. So the Cafe Anyway characters that came in today didn't really have much to say.
Mike Matthews, I think you should go to Benita.
You said that already.
What's in Albert Brooks?
So that's the end of the show. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. Hope your face doesn't mash down.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!